Hello, welcome to McBoss Capital Channel. My name is Michael Chu. This is US stock market recap for the week ending April 2nd, 2026. This is a short 4-day week. Friday is Good Friday, so it's a holiday, and market should resume on Monday for trading. As for this week, we have a very turbulent week with lots of news headline. However, Nasdaq actually end up bouncing back this week, surprisingly, and trade closed at the top of the range. Now the Nasdaq here did suffer more than 9 weeks down, with a high to low of 13.7% drawdown here. So yeah, given that, we will actually bounce back. So this is very productive. Again, with so many negative headline news, lots of worry about the Iran war and the Strait of Hormuz opening, whether it'll open and whether U.S. will continue to the war and hit even more some of the energy infrastructure in Iran. Yeah, so lots of things lingering. And we will have Friday job report as well, and next week we have Fed meeting minutes as well. So lots of things to digest still to come. I'm sure we'll continue to see more turbulent times. So we did start off the week pretty negative here. Then Tuesday and Wednesday, we had huge bounce here. Again, there were hopes that there might be some peace deal going on. But then Wednesday night, Trump had their press conference where he announced that the war will continue for at least 2 to 3 more weeks. And market didn't like that news. And obviously, oil here went up quite a bit today. Yeah, over 10%, 11% at the close here. So very strong move on oil. However, as I said, surprisingly the market didn't go down as much, because it bounced back from this morning. It was pretty negative. It went back down below the green line. That is the 10-day moving average. However, it bounced back above and closed near the 21 pink line. So that is still a heavy resistance area. So we gotta watch out for that. But the move on Thursday, which is the last day of the week, is actually a very good move because I would have thought, hey, we're gonna close red, we're gonna close down for the week, and no one wants to hold over the weekend, and so forth, right? But surprisingly, again, there's some buyers coming in. Now the volume is not that high, so that is the caveat here. So we'll have to continue to see what will happen. For S&P 500 here on the weekly chart, we came down as well, and this week on Monday we did make a new low, bringing it down about 9.8%, almost 10%, not quite yet from high to low here. But again, very similar chart. It bounced back from the lows on Monday and comes back here. And again, today we were able to rebound from this morning drop as well under the 10-day and came back up to sit near the pink line. And we still have that resistance level. Again, we just coming back to that line, which is a good thing. We just have to continue this momentum. So here's Dow weekly chart, also dropping about 10.8% from the high to low here. This week, again, very similar. Monday, we had a slightly new low, just like by 5 points or something like that, very small. And then we were able to bounce back throughout the week. And this is, you can see the first positive week in like 5 weeks here. So here's the daily chart. Dow Jones actually performed very well on Monday. It didn't give up much, and then bounced back Tuesday, Wednesday, like the other index, and then Thursday, even though it didn't close green, but it came back all the way from below the 10-day as well, and coming back to the 21-day. So it looks really good at this moment. Here's the Russell 2000 chart. We've also been coming down. It correct roughly 12.1% from high to low here. It did bounce back as well this week. So that is actually 2 weeks in a row that is positive, surprisingly. So we did suffer a pretty big drop on Monday morning. Again, we bounced back on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We also bounced back from this morning, from the morning drop here. So overall, it is slightly above the 21-day line here. So you can see it's a pretty short line coming down, but it is slightly above it. So at this moment, this index looks the best. Dow is second, and then yeah, and then we have S&P and Nasdaq at the bottom. And you also notice the relative performance compared to S&P is moving upwards, so it's outperforming a little bit on the S&P against S&P. Here's the in a way the IBD 50 ETF, which has come down really hard. It has correct slightly more than 23% so far from the to the lows here. Now this week we again went down further on Monday, but look at how it did come back quite a bit. Obviously still have a lot of room to catch up, but at this moment, at least we see a bounce this week, which is also helpful here. On the daily chart, you can see a bounce back on today, and it closed near the top, and also it's slightly just sitting at the 10 day, and the 21 day is still coming down, so we still have that resistance right there. Here's the 10-year Treasury yield. Um, we did come back down from the high here, and we closed at this level, much lower, 4.31%. The US dollar also pulled back slightly and then bouncing back today. This week, the gold tried to recover a bit. Climbed Tuesday, Wednesday very strong. Friday it did gap down, but it still managed to close a little bit at the top range here. But we're still near the 10-day and also below the 21-day. SLV, very similar chart. We're still technically on a downtrend. It did bounce back above the 10-day and touch the 21-day before we gap down today. But again, we did close near the top range and also at the 10-day here. Here's GBTC Bitcoin, not moving much at all. It's definitely in a downtrend so far. It hasn't made a new low since this more than 2 months ago. So that's the positive, but we just couldn't climb above this 10, 21-day level. So it seems to be stuck or in a downtrend. So on Friday, we do have the US job report release, even though the market is closed. And then next week, we have the FOMC meeting minutes coming out. And then we have PCE, personal consumption expenditure index come up and on Thursday, and then consumer price index on Friday. Also, we have earnings from Delta Airlines and Levi. So this is WenX Semiconductor, symbols SMH. We also see a very healthy bounce back here. We're slowly moving back towards the high. So not that far from the high. We're now at the 10-week moving average, the red line there. On the daily chart, we also see a nice bounce from Monday's drop, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, we bounced back from the low in the morning, and we are able to close just slightly above the 10 and 21 day, and we're not that far away from the red line here. So far, I mean, this is what most charts look like right now. We undercut the previous lows here, the two previous lows. We are starting to build this base formation here, almost like a double bottom base, where the second bottom undercut the first one. And if we were to kind of look at where the middle point, it will be roughly right here, around 400 level. So we do pass that, that will be very positive. So this is Nvidia. This is a weekly chart, and you notice it's been many, many months since Nvidia has a strong move. We are kind of building this sideways choppiness until recently we came down further, and we undercut all the previous lows here, right there. And we like again, same as other index, it was able to bounce back Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Right now, it's just sitting near the 10, like slightly above the 10-day, the green line, and just sitting at the 21-day. We still have this red line coming down here. That'll be major resistance from the past. And many times they have crossed above the red line even and just couldn't go. So that's another problem. So I would kind of draw a higher trend line up here, and maybe there will be a better chance if we can surpass that in a decisive like move. Yeah. Here's TSM, just sitting at 1021 day as well. This is ARM. ARM has been doing really well after they announced they're starting to build some AI chips. And here it pulled back though, and then it bounced once again. But today, the morning drop, it just didn't come back much after the morning drop. So that is a little bit negative there. This is AMD here, Advanced Micro Devices. We are bouncing back very strongly today from this morning drop. So today, lots of stocks went down in the morning. A lot of them are still red by the end of the day, but there is some that bounce back very strong. This is one of them, AMD here. You can see this morning it came down pretty far below the 10-day slightly, and then it bounced all the way up. Very strong move. Even though volume is slightly lower before this long Friday long weekend here, but still, it's a very, very strong move here. And look at this intraday chart. It just keep going, powering throughout the day. Next, we have Broadcom AVGO here. This one, again, still very weak. Bounce back to the 10-21 day line. Here's IGV, the software ETF here. We do have a bounce back here. Also, very surprising, we didn't make a new low this week, so that is a positive. We're still seeing this very strong, steep 50-day moving average coming down. And then if you draw an upper channel line here on the highs, recent highs also have another channel dying down. So I think we have to clear those two lines before we can say, hey, things are actually good. Here's Microsoft, just coming back to the 10-day right now. I still have, again, 21-day and 50-day potential resistance. Google also bouncing back above 10-day and actually sitting at the 21-day, so this one looks slightly better. Amazon also bouncing back a little bit, just slightly near the 10-21-day, just slightly near above it, just slightly. Meta also bounced back to the 10-day, and then this Thursday morning also bounced back from the low, so we're just sitting exactly near the 10-day. Here's Palantir, trading more tightly recently, so slightly good there. And then we did come back down further before bouncing. And right now, so far, the bounce is not very strong. It's coming back to the 10-21 day. So we need to pass above that to have more meaningful movement there. Apple also bouncing back to the 10-21 day. We still have this clear red line 50-day resistance potentially there. Today Tesla went down 5% here. Probably the worst of the mega caps here. We have this clear downtrend channel line at the top here. We are not that far from the lows once again. This is after their delivery numbers came out for last month. I think it's lower than expected. Next, we have Netflix here moving nicely. You can see right now it's bouncing here. Very nice round, even though it's a very short bounce. I mean, it's probably not narrow actually. It looks narrow just because of the chart, how it came down here. But this is actually probably like close to 5 weeks or so, the nice flat base. So looking pretty good. And the volume on the sell side is very low. So lots of buy volume here. Yeah, I like this chart right now. It's looking very sharp. Hello, this is the second part of the video where we will talk about the growth stocks list that I follow. For the week, this is a short week. We're still pretty much in correction mode with 0 to 20% allocation. Lately, the story has been oil versus a lot of stocks, and when oil price rise, a lot equity goes down. Um, and obviously, the truth about whether there's a peace deal or not, that is also significant, and whether the Hormuz Strait will be open soon. That seems to move the market, those news. But for the week, we are seeing accumulation, surprisingly. We're seeing on the industry group, we have more, 47 groups more accumulated, and 14 this under distribution. On the stock side, we see about 200, not too many, under accumulation, and 77 by Thursday that are under distribution. So again, not too much movement, but there is some. Just to show you, last week we also had some little bit here, but then by Friday we have huge sell off. On terms of the sector, we are net positive on all the sectors. So that is interesting. So maybe the selling side has subsided quite a bit this week. And Technology has 12 stocks more, net accumulation, retail 11, 35 industrial, health 21, commodities and energy like 8, 37 on the financial. So financial move did well this week. It was consistently higher. So on this side of this part of this Excel, I'm showing the growth stocks list that I follow. There's roughly 566 stocks that I follow at this moment, and out of those stocks, 244 are above their short-term moving average, so they're in uptrend mode right now. And then 55 is within 1% of the moving average, and then the ones that are below those moving average are in downtrend. And so out of that, 48% are in uptrend. So that is actually quite high, the highest we have seen in many weeks actually. So so again, this is based on the 566 stocks that I follow. So that is very interesting. It's almost like the distribution that had been happening in the last few weeks all of a sudden is no longer material in the sense where, at least for these growth stocks, they have moved back up, right? They have moved back to the short-term moving average, and they're even above that short-term moving average, right? So again, I'm not sure we are setting up for a next rally, but it is highly possible, especially when there's this many stocks, at least on the growth stock side, that are showing that strength. So we'll see as time goes on, we might see more stocks showing their strengths. And earnings season is coming up. Obviously, if earnings seasons are good, and we can see many of these stocks, gap up on earnings and so forth. Of course, many of them have come down, below their short-term moving average for, many weeks now. And then now they may be bouncing back on the right side, forming a base, right? And then eventually breaking out if there was a good earning. So this seems to repeat itself over and over. We just have to watch for those patterns and watch for the ones that are most resilient and most have an upward momentum right now, right before the earnings season. And if you able to catch on some of this before the earnings, then you have some cushion, maybe some profit cushion, so that you can maybe take that risk going into the earnings and hope for the best, right? So anyhow, we're gonna go through this list right now. You know, there's a lot of stocks, so I won't go through each one of them. But I'll look at some of them that are showing incredible strength. Let's look at the first one here. Just before I talk about specific stocks, let's look at the sectors here. We're seeing technology at the top here, right? We're still having some technologies are leading the chart here in the top 25 here. And then we have, oil and gas, agriculture. We still have one here, mining, gold area, oil and gas, right? So we're seeing the oil and gas obviously doing really well recently, right? And then we also do have stocks that are still in downtrend, right? So it's not like they're all in uptrend, even at the top here. So some of them have came down below their short-term moving average recently, and so therefore they're still doing well from previously, but recently they have pulled back or something, right? So that's why some of them downtrend. And this column tells us whether they actually hit new high recently. So that is also very important to look at. So in fact, I'll probably focus more on those stocks today, just because those are stocks that are making new highs and showing strength right now. And sometimes, some stocks can, rank lower because they're starting to make their move later, right? So that's also something that's possible. So Fastly here is a stock that I noticed tremendous strength lately. It's not the strongest fundamentals, so normally this stock wouldn't be on my list, but because it has shown such a tremendous fundamental, and again, for my fundamental criteria is usually 10% or over in the next 4 quarters projection, and this one just felt a little bit short, but look at last earnings, it built out of this huge base here, long base here, and then it just shot up, and it never really came back to the 10-day. Look at the green line. It come close to it every time, but it never. And then here we did undercut it recently, but look at this. By the next day, it already bounced back right above that 10-day. So now we are at new high once again. We're at lots of strength here. Earnings season starting right now for April. Will go on till May, and this one is reporting May 6th. So you have still a month um, before its earnings. So who knows what will happen? Obviously this is quite extended at this moment from the 10-day. It can still be more extended. But the upper channel line is also a little bit, can be a little bit considered also extended if it passed this upper channel line. So we'll have to wait and see how this goes. Like, I mean, here was the best opportunity to get in recently. Next, we have Lumentum, VIAV, and CIEN. Those three stocks are in the same group, in the fiber optic telecom group here. And this one make new high on today, on Thursday today. It make new high. This is unbelievable strength. From this morning low, it went all the way back up and gained 8%. That is a huge move. So volatility is there. It's not easy to catch this. To trade these stocks because they have such humongous move every day. But it is near the high. This one VIAV. And finally, we have CIEN as well. This group is just tremendous. Has been leaders for a while now. This last many months. At rank number 5, we have SanDisk here in the data storage group. That's another stronger WDC down here. So here's SanDisk here bouncing back. 2 days it found support at the green line. So that is very very good support line there. Here's WDC, very similar chart. This one also trying to find support at the 10-day for second day in a row. STX also in the same group, also very similar, finding support at the 10-day. And here's Micron, recently reported, and it actually didn't do that well since that earnings report. And also recently, the bounce is a little bit weaker. It's still under the 10-day. So here we have some chip stocks that are doing well. ICHR, TSEM, Form, AEIS here. So this is IC Holdings. It's still kind of in the downtrend in a way, but it is above the 10-day. The volume is kind of missing on today's bounce. We'll have to see like if it can fall through the next day. But so far, it has found lower channel line support here as well. This is Tower Semiconductor TSEM. I really like this stock. Look at this recent rally here. Then we had this huge pullback. Like, I mean, this is a strong pullback to the 21 day. But then we bounce back really strong. Like, this is even stronger on the bounce back. We are making new high at this moment. Next, we have Form. Form is slightly also doing pretty well, bouncing off the 10-day. We have this nice bottom channel line here as well for the support. AEIS also bouncing back, very similar chart to Form. Yeah. Next, we have EQNR in the oil and gas, DAR in the agriculture, with OGO in the mining gold area. Down here, we have E as well in the oil and gas. So this is Equinor, a Norwegian oil and gas refining company here. We did have a pullback this week, but we bounced back Thursday as well. So it's sitting still very comfortably above the 10-day right here. So looks pretty good. This is a huge run right here. Whether it can continue the run, we'll see. We did test the 10-day and we have bounced back so far. Here's ENI, Italian company, supplies on oil and natural gas. So again, this is also a new high here. Pull back the day before. Today is a gap up 4%. Again, very strong recent rally. We'll see if this trend can continue. It does have the 10-day support there. This is Darling Ingredients in the agriculture area. Look at this nice rally momentum here. It also had this previous run here. So it's still finding support at the 10-day. It break it once here and then most of the time it found support pretty fast. I mean, look at the volume down here. It's just tremendous support as it goes higher. Although the gold price didn't bounce too much, but AUGO is doing tremendous movement here on the upside. Also, we're seeing volume coming up as well. We are already near new high here. This is a very impressive stock at this moment, 99% RS rating. We don't see many biotech stock. Here's one Eton. This one is also doing a very nice upward momentum here. You can see this 10-day line. It also obeyed it quite well. It just recently break out from the $21 point, $23 point here. Yeah, it looks really good. Next, we have some industrial stocks ranked number 10 with GLW, MOD here. We also have VRT, MTZ in the heavy construction, CenX metal processing, and Cohere in the electronic parts. Here's Corning. This is a nice bounce today after a morning low here. And yeah, this is a new recent closing high, so that looks really good. MOD here also bouncing slightly here from the 10-day, 21-day, sitting above those lines. It is still kind of on a downtrend from the high channel line, so if we can cross that, that would be good. Here is VRT here, just slightly bouncing a little bit. It has been very choppy recently, right here. So we're good. We can get another fall through day above this trend line. That'll be nice here. This is Nasdaq MTZ, heavy construction building, looking really good, making new high. You know, it's been constantly finding support near the 10-21 day line here. Next, we have Century Aluminum. This one also bouncing back really strong here, making new high this week. Friday it did drop a little bit, but again comes under lower volume, so that is pretty good. We have Coherent here, electronic parts. This one has done really well in the last year. Recently, a lot of choppiness. Right now, it's trying to come back. We're still on the under the upper channel line here, but it is above the 10 days, so we'll see if it can follow through as well. Next, we have a couple stocks here, Dell and UI, that are also doing well. Dell recently showed a lot of strength here, bouncing to new highs. Before we had this huge pullback, and then we right now bouncing back really strong, and today close at the top of the range. Looks really sharp. This is Ubiquity, UI symbol. Came out once, but it fell, came back down. Right now it came out again, and so far it looks pretty good. We'll see if this will continue. Next, we have API in the service, education service area, FTI in the machinery, oil and gas. We also have Marvel here, ranked 34. This one recently got a boost from some announcement from Nvidia, but it did suffer a pullback and then it did bounce back this week. And right now it's at new high, so it looks really good. We also have SSRM in the silver area. This one is also coming back very strong. Yeah, today it tested low and they bounced back again. We have A10 in the computer software enterprise, ESC machinery general industrial, RSI. This is leisure gaming making new high. Rush Street Interactive. This one is slowly building momentum, climbing on the 10-day. Yeah, it looks really good. We're GEV in the alternative order, PHC in the medical ethical drugs here. We have MTSI, another chip, keys here in the electrical scientific measurement, XPO, transportation logistics, SRPT, biotech, GEO in the finance property REIT. We have YPF, oil and gas, ASTH, medical managed care, UNFI, wholesale food, fixed, building AC heating products. We have SHEN in the telecom service. We have AHCO. This is outpatient care. And we also have Garden here in the medical service. This is Adapt Health in the outpatient home care. Look at this nice uptrend building up. It has been a very choppy stock, but recently it's starting to climb the 10-day here. This is Guardian Pharmacy Services. This one broke out recently. It did have a pullback after breaking out from that. Right now it's starting to climb again above the 10-day. With ARM here, we talked about that in earlier. We have Net here, Cloudflare in the software enterprise, FN in the electrical contract manufacturing, CSY retail super mini market, and Legend here building. KC General Store, this is making new high. Look at recent volume buying there, looks good. LGM is building construction, recently making new high as well, finding support near the 10 days, so it looks pretty good. This is just recently announced earnings here. Next we have MKSI here, semiconductor, Netflix, we talked about that earlier, RELY, Financial Service Specialty. Next, we have IESC and MYRG, both in building maintenance service in the uptrend. KNSA in the biotech, ASX, another chip stock. We have EQIX in the REIT, ORLA, gold, CGNX, scientific measuring. BKE, electronic parts. We have Yelp here, internet content. Five Alive, NYT, STM, AU, MBIN, CRS, ETR in the electric power, AVT electronic parts, AXIA electric power. We're KD here, software enterprise, AGI in the gold, TGTX biotech, LFUS electronic parts, RPRX biotech, SBLK in the transportation ship. And we have SCFS here making new high, consumer loans, CLH pollution control making new high. And as we go down, we still see some VRSN, QSR, Burlington, BURL. Yeah, so now we're starting to get towards the end here. We're seeing more downtrend stocks. But yeah, overall, I mean, we have a very strong list here. So feel free to check them out. I feel like stocks have been surprisingly not too far from setting up to a breakout point. So like the fact that almost half of the stocks are you know in uptrend mode, that tells me a lot about the current stocks because they're really strong. If I didn't look at this list, I would have thought the market, most stocks are near the lows, and maybe a lot of them are, but the growth stocks are showing strength right now. They're starting to set up. They're starting to come back on the right side of the base. So maybe the market is starting to discount a lot of the bad news going forward. We'll see. Um, as long as the growth stocks continue to outperform, this is a good market for growth stocks traders like myself and maybe some of you. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe. Really appreciate your support. Thank you. Have a very nice long weekend.